Okay, hello and welcome to Warcraft Daily for today, the 30th of September. So in today's show, we are going to kick off our question and answer show. I got the poll back, and honestly, the Q&A thing is going to be a thing. Also, Heroic Garrosh has been defeated, but not by the Westerners. And finally, one interesting little blue tweet, which I thought was, well, interesting. So let's get into the show. Now, first of all, the Q&A show is definitely going to be a thing. The straw poll, even after about 24 hours, I pretty much know it's going to be well received. Because of the responses I got, so that's all good. Now, basically, if you want to hear me talk about like an in-game topic or hear my thoughts on something, then leave a comment on this video and we'll take it from there. Now, if things are like worthy or say demand like a full episode, then it may be one question an episode. It just really varies on what the kind of questions and quality of the questions that I get. Now, things you shouldn't do are like leave an ultra-specific question, and really, I might have like diverged into more diverse stuff in the future, but right now it's just going to be sort of in-game WoW stuff, WoW questions, Blizzard questions, that sort of thing. So say if you have a lore question, you want to know what I think on like what something Blizzard's doing, and what I think about an in-game thing, stuff like that, and it's all good. Specific class changes though, not a good thing because they only apply to a small subset of people. So yeah, I encourage you, if you have an interesting question, something like that, do leave it in the comments, and I'll probably think of a better way to submit questions. YouTube comments are, of course, a little bit messy, but for now, if there is a question you like, please hit that thumbs up button on the question itself, because if it's a top comment, then it's easy for me to see, and I know that a whole bunch of people will want to hear about it. So there's that. Now let's move on to Heroic Garrosh. Now, a Chinese guild, whose name I cannot pronounce, have killed Garrosh. Now, it's worth pointing out that this is not really what you'd call the world first, because it's kind of a little bit easier for them, sort of. Pretty much, they play under different rules and are able to obtain more gear. They can do both 10 and 25 in the same lockout. Now that said, for them 10 is a lower item level, but they can still patch up on a lot of heroic gear, and really their item levels were 573 plus, whereas the Western guilds at the minute are 565. And honestly, at their level of skill, that item level difference makes it's a giant difference to their raid performance. So really they're two different races, and basically, like, the Western one is really what's just called World First. I don't want to get into some crazy politics or something, but that's just how it's been for the longest time, and that's how it's probably going to continue, and I'm going to go with that. But still, big grats to the guild who killed them. They are undoubtedly very skilled and did a hell of a good job. Now, as for the rest of the race, Method and Blood Legion and a bunch of Russians, who I can't pronounce, are all attempting Garrosh 25, and Paragon and Depraved are attempting Garrosh 10. Definitely very cool. They've got up there pretty fast, but it's definitely worth noting, like, things like, say, Paragons, Throk, they kept a lot of guilds back for a long time. The difficulty curve really did spike up towards the end, and I think it's been a great tier. As a normal raider, I'm really enjoying the rate of progression. I can't wait to get onto heroics myself. So there's that, and finally, to round off the show, we have tweets. And, well, more like tweet, because there's only one of them. So they admitted that leveling more than one character in Pandaria was not fun. Quests didn't result in a lot of XP, and due to it being 5 levels, each level had to have a crap ton of XP, which meant that leveling felt very slow. And they said the XP nerf helped a lot, and they also said that they overestimated how much the option between, say, Valley of the Four Wings and Karsak Wilds was like a choice that would sort of help people have a more diverse leveling experience. And I think this is definitely right, because at the start, of course, you are funneled through the Jade Forest, and that's cool the first time, but afterwards, it's just doing the same thing. And really, that sort of theme continues. And you know, it's funny with Pandaria, I think a lot of the problem that they had with the expansion's leveling process is that it was so linear. I mean, in terms of quest chains, they were so linear. I remember the days when you go to a town like, I don't know, Valgard or somewhere like that, and you would get a bunch of quests, and you know what, you'd have quests that would take you to about 4 different places, and you could open your map and decide where you went. You could sort of not choose your own adventure, but you know, you could go from place to place as you saw fit and explore the world. Whereas what they did here was just give us loads of bespoke, you go here, you do this, you go here, you do this, the whole way through. And I thought this was definitely a problem with Cataclysm, but in Mists of Pandaria there was something about it which just seemed more offensive to my enjoyment, I suppose. I think it's really a problem, and it started really when the sort of Cataclysm approach to leveling really took hold within Blizzard. Honestly, I think that the Wrath of the Lich King method was definitely the best. What was nice about it is that it did have the big ticket quests that had interesting mechanics, fun things, and they were varied, but they were also sparse enough for them to be really fun and memorable. And on top of that, you had a lot of different varied areas and things to go and do. You had let's just say in like Borean Tundra, there was so much like different diversity. You could go to the Cavaldier place, you could go to the Kalawag place, you could go straight up to like where the undead were, fighting the village, loads of different things like that, but each place had its own series of quests, and there was just a lot more, I suppose, variation in the whole thing, and I think that was way better than it just being one long quest chain. I understand that in having one long quest chain they want to make like a long overarching story to each zone, but I think that can be better done by a series of really memorable quests that they're going to care about the story more if you just give them 10 memorable quests as opposed to 100 ones that just basically turn into a terrible grind fest, which is not fun. But anyway, enough ranting. It'll be interesting to see what you think about, I know my thoughts of that leveling thing. But yeah, the Q&A thing, if you want this show to be a thing, leave a question, because that's the only way I can actually do a Q&A show. Oddly enough, who'd have thunk it? But anyway, that's it for today's show. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.